method which is called AICC and so they have in detail given the explanation as AICC and SAP method. Specifically first, AICC and SAM are standard methods for online content so that it can be communicated between the LMS system and the content server. AICC prefers aviation industry, aviation committee, and SAM prefers theoretical content that the resource monitored and channel. These are the three standard methods which we use for Hello? Hello, window? Okay. If you run in there, okay. I'm not able to let's just okay. So coming back to our content, here the full form of AICC is Aviation Industry Security Committee and standard general content captures different formats. With the help of these two methods, we will be able to communicate the learning management system and the content server. So there are different launch methods, content launch methods. These two are one of them. If you want to know in detail about AICC and SAM, if you log into this website, you will be able to get more knowledge on AICC and SAM methods. So SuccessFactors learning especially supports the AICC and SAM 1.2 version, 2004 and 1.3 version. So these are the two websites for both of them. Now first coming to the AICC content. For AICC, if you want to create a content in the AICC, then there are 4 text documents which we are supposed to have. That is code, which means .crs, and code structure .csv, description and assignable units. So for a content to be in AICC standard method, we should have these 4 text documents in the content server. Now, for a SAM method, we should have a single XML file. With the help of a single XML file which describes IMS manifest, this is again an XML file. For an AICC, we should have this for expression. Whereas for SAM, we should just have a single XML file. So with the help of these two methods, we will be able to upload content. And that is for it has many versions, that is 1.3, 2004 version, and 8th edition. There are different editions for SAM. Whatever the content server is on SAM, we should use that particular edition only. Now, if you see, there is something called development tools here. We navigate to explain that this. This is admin. See here, this is folder. For our content packet, we will have a separate chat where with the help of software only we will be able to search the tool. So we will use the tool. And from which software we are going to pick the content. That is what is under basic. So we have told us we will have a separate development tool organization. This is with in-house content. If you want to use any content, and you will start with the will we have first messages that how to articulate. So we can just give when it comes to developer tools, we can write for us articulate. So these are the different varieties of tools. And another version of the content in the substantive. So, and from that what happens, we should have AICC and form compliance standard method. Now we'll go ahead and start creating one of them so we will understand how we create it. How we create the content object. Go and select navigate to the content tab, content object, and add here. So here our content object ID will add. Then, you see, we have to under whatever the main administration is having and will be creating a particular content object under the same business. You see here, build user to company administration. Instead of going to create any content object in the system, whatever the admin is going to create the content object in the system, that system's information will be here. User and for which company that user belongs to, and from which location they are going to be creating particular content object, and on which date. What happens is that this text are all going to be visible for administrators only, so that tomorrow if there is any problem occurring in the online content, they will be able to know who has created the particular content object. So it is always better to reach out information who is going to create this content object. Now there are two syntaxes here. Content object is active and content object is online. Basically content object is created for an online content only. So we have to tell the system that this particular content object is going to be online so that user will be able to launch the item. Now we have to give the description for the content object. So when the online content opens, so whatever description we are giving first will be available for the employee. Now the tool will not create anything as now. So it depends on the launch function that we create. We'll click on add. Once we have chosen add, we'll get into the screen. This is the summary section, the same details which we have given earlier. So this is the bill location and details. Now come to the mastery score. To see mastery score is nothing but the score that we give for each and every content object. You might be creating 50 content objects, and for all the 3 content objects, for each content we will see the mastery score. Say 80% or 75%, whatever the score might be. And if employee is not achieving the mastery score of each and every content, even if the item is completed, the online course is completed, the status of the online content will be shown as finished, but not completed or passed or failed. Because mastery score, whatever mastery score we have given to each content, employee has not achieved it. So for each and every content object, we will be giving the mastery score. It is not from the item level. Item level, when we are creating an item, when we assign and all, we will be giving some score there. So other than that, for each and every content, what is the mastery score, we will be giving it there under the particular list. Now coming to AICC.
That is not any exam, right? How do you determine that this is the content?
Now, yesterday what we had created was exam. And then there was a separate button called objective, which we didn't create. So what that objective happens is, we will create a new objective and assign those questions or exams to that objective. The same objective we will create in the content objective. This is the content object. And whatever objective we have created, we will be mapping that objective to the same content object. So those systems will be linked to this exam. Those exams will be linked to this online content. So when we execute this, when employee is launching this online content, once he finishes this PDF or it is a SOP or whatever sort of a document this particular course, once he completes that, automatically the questions come in system.
So you mean the past person that which we do in the exam is of CMS and master too?
No, that was from the item level, right? For each question we had given a score. This is from the content tab. That was from the question side. The questions we have created, there are 10 questions. And we are telling this employee who completed all 10 questions, he should achieve 80%. The score should be 80%. That is from the item level. Once he takes that exam, only then, when he is completing that exam with assessment or whatever it is, when he is scoring more than 80%, then that item is treated as completed and it is going into bottom mistake.
Why didn't you feel early on master card?
We will just use it. Sorry?
No, basically, what exactly is the content object?
Just create one test and then we'll see how it is going to work. We have just first given an description for the content object. So this content object will be mapped to the online item that we are going to create. So an online item can be an LMS training, for an example, and coming to launch method. These are all the different types of launch methods that an online item will have. So it can be a content layer, it can be a document type. Document type means a PDF or Word document or an Excel sheet or an SOP or anything. So all those, wherever those objects are, we will be giving the URL for the particular document type. So just AICC, then we will give the file name, where the AICC software is, from where it is shipping and all that. Browser, we will give the exact URL of the browser whatever we are going to create. So these are all the launch methods that we will have for the content object. So when we give the details with the help of these launch methods and give a file name, parameters and all, in the home page of the employee, once this item is assigned to them, they will be able to launch the course. That part is clear? Say for an example, I am selecting browser. When I am selecting browser, I have to give the link for the browser. So under the file section, I will be giving as http:// www.com. So what happens, because we are giving the file name, the URL here, and we are selecting the launch method as browser, once an item, this is the content object, once it's assigned to a user, when employee is launching it, they will be getting into the screen of SuccessFactors.com. Or we can give Google or YouTube, whatever it is. We have to give the particular link. It all depends on what launch method we are using. If at all we are having, say, we have a separate folder where the server content server is, and we have many features, we have some SOPs, we have some checklists and all. So all that if you want to give, then we have to select the launch method as document type. If you have a separate provider, content provider, then we will be selecting the AICC launch method. So this is how we create a content object. So currently I have selected as browser and we have given the file name. If we have selected a browser and if we want to give a URL msn.net, then we have to protect this HTTP curriculum through backslash and followed by the URL. Even if whether it is msn.com or yahoo.com, whatever it is. So once we have given our file name, this offline file name is like you want to download the code, say AICC.R. You can see the this is the URL. If you want to know more about whatever profile in this site. So if it is offline file name, say we have iPad or whatever, if you want to download any code inside of internet not available, we will be able to just download that particular code, and once internet is off, then we can download the code into our desktop, and even if internet is not connected, we will be able to check up the code completely. And the assessment box. And that is meant by offline file. We have to put the file name there. And coming back to enable mobile access, if you want to assign if you want to be able to launch it on mobile also, then you have to select enable access and put the mobile file name. So these details currently we have chosen browser, file name and our link. Now coming back to, we will select as upload this. Go back to an item. We'll create an online item. So once we have given our description for an online item, system continue, automatically it will take us to the next tab where it is showing us add content. So we have our content here, which we have already created. If you select the drop down, we have these many objects that we can create. One is add folder, add content object, add exam, add package, and group. So first coming to add folder. What exactly does add folder mean? Now I am creating a folder. Okay. Let's just use as root level. And now there is something called post sequential completion of content. We will first give this folder, then when we go back to another section, then I will tell you what that means. So we have created a folder here. The object that we have created, the content object, can be assigned to this particular folder. We can create another content object and map it to another separate folder. So this way we can have any number of content objects. So we will create another folder and we name it as supervisor. Okay. So now, if you see here, you can actually move them here anywhere that you want. If you want to move this up, you can move it up, or if you want to move it down, you can move it up. This particular code sequential completion of content means, here we have few sequence of content objects. The moment you select the check that, when employee is matching the code, it will tell that it will not allow the user to select this particular link unless and until he is completed this. So it has to go in sequential order only. So later on, if I want to move this particular sequence down and this one to be up, you can always do that by moving these further. So now we have created a folder. We have to create a content object under these two folders. So that is add content object. We have already created our content object. We have searched for the content object and element demo, select element demo, give your description. The code for this content object is 80 related. Now, mark this object complete when launched. Now, for example, we have given a browser and we have given a URL there. The moment employee launches that particular item, automatically he does not have to go through anything. Once it is launched, the course will be completed. This is what is meant by mark as the complete when launched. So, select that item. Now, we will tell that it is under user tutorial folder. So, if you want to add any folder, directly from here also we can add. You don't have to navigate back to the main screen. If you want to add any of them, you can add it here. Or if you want to create such folder under user tutorial, you can always do that by selecting that particular folder. So now I have given a user tutorial and I'm clicking the notes. Your completion status for online.
Madhuri, tell me one thing. When you say AICC.com or anything, actually they will have already a course, design course, I mean, that's what I understood, maybe I'm wrong. So, sorry?
Yeah, that is how it is actually.
So they
will have content with them. We are going to create an object with the URL where exactly the content is stored.
Yes, so already when we are saying AICC wrapper services or something in the earlier, when we check that wrapper services and give the details, automatically all this, whatever, the content, whether presentation, CPTs or anything, so while again creating like this user tutorial folder and then, is it for...
Yes, I am showing this guide because so that it is available. This definitely is available and we can have any number of content objects and when an user, see now I have created two different folders, right? When I assign the item to user, I will just you will be able to understand. I might have, if today my lesson 1 is day 1, I will have lesson 1, day 2 I will have lesson 2 and it will have some other agenda. So all this to be seen under a content object, we should have these folders, otherwise how are you going to map it? Not to say, under training.sap.com, we have SuccessFactors LMS. You have your training, SuccessFactors LMS. It has 11 modules. Under that 11 modules, it has its own description. But then, it is just one item which is assigned in my learning plan. Once I navigate to that item only, I will be able to see all can discuss 9 modules. Day 1 is just content, day 2 is just global variance, day 2 is just network, day 3 connector. How I am going to differentiate it is only with the help of these. I have to create a folder called day 1. Under that, what is my content object? System admin. Day 2. What is my content object? Connector. Day 3. That way. Create a folder. Under that folder, have a content object.
Okay, I'm clear, but as far as can be clear. So I mean to say that then what I am saying is there is a package, right? When we say AICT form, it's a package of courses or something. And then we give that
Package will have a PDF, it can have a SOP or whatever it might be. Inside that it will have. If you want to differentiate with the help of the content object that you are going to map. It is just one PDF. One PDF can contain one set of an object, content object, which has one set of topic. There might be another PDF and it should have another topic. There can be any number of PDF, right? For example, I myself have uploaded so many documents to people. One was learning needs management PDF. Another one was multiple approval PDF. So within LMS there are these PDFs. So how are we going to differentiate that? By creating these folders and mapping it for each and every object, map those PDFs.
Okay. Sorry. Yes, sir. If you go to my level, we get so many courses, right? Directly we get courses. So naturally, when we are uploading when we have tied up with AICT or stuff, all those will be available in my learning, right?
Yes, but we have done all this. That is why it's available in my learning there.
Madhavi, correct me if I'm wrong. So AICT.com is just a platform wherein it is how content is placed, right?
Yeah. With the help of all the methods and whatever files that we have seen in this document, right? How an AICT is able to see here. AICT has these many text documents and form has an XML file. So these two are...
This is just a method or what you say?
Yeah, this is a method only. This is a method to integrate with our SuccessFactors system from the different content servers. These are all the methods.
You probably can play play word of BCP of any kind of...
Madhavi?
Yeah, anything.
Madhavi, Prasad here.
Yeah.
Do one thing, Madhavi. Just go to...
implementation on LSO. This is right.
So, it's how with the group.
Okay, my question is, if we have that one, what we are doing here is, it is kind of a curriculum, right? The content under which you have different courses.
Madhavi, sorry to disturb. Just go to Google and type Chrome file, and you can download one Chrome file. You can show them, so it will avoid the confusion.
I got it, but what my question is, in this one, LMS tutorial, right? We are creating one folder.
I am creating first so that it is easily, we are mapping different sets of, this particular course cannot be a 1-day session or a 2-day session. It can have a week session. So each day what are we going to have is what is my concern. That is why we are creating folders and having different methods for each one of them.
But if it is an online course, sorry.
Yeah, this is a...
Okay. So,
one thing, we will just create this part and then do our settings and I will assign them to the user and we will open the user screen and see how it is looking. Yeah? Now we do not have any other content of it. We will create another content of it, otherwise we will create Now what we are giving here is content is available for launching in some months, record learning given when all content is complete. Now here we have these many, right? So like this we will have many other content objects also. We are setting this record so that once all these content objects are completed, only then you should record this content as completed. So that was our completion status. Now here AICC and form maximum normal this 99 is like the content object that we are going to assign here, right? That is what is set to as 99. Now, yesterday when we were seeing this particular days from launch to expiration, here it says there is a content layer, maybe a course which is a 10-minute course. It is just a 10-minute course or a half-an-hour course. And this particular item is assigned to me. I have opened the item and I have launched it. After launching within 5 minutes, I get into a meeting, I close it and I come back. But the course is only for 10 minutes. I will not open that course again for say 3 weeks or a month. If I am giving the days from launch to expiration as 10 days, what will happen? Because I am not going back to the same content to launch the online item again within a period of 10 days, I am launching only after a month, I will not be able to launch that content at all. That is what is meant by days from launch to expiry.
So if you launch it today, after 11th day,
this particular course is assigned to me. This is a matter of 10-minute course. I have opened it. I have not completed the course. I have just used that course for 5 minutes. I have not completed it. I have not taken any assessment, anything. But I am not opening that course again, just continue course. I am not selecting that course or launching that course for another 1 month. But the course time is only 10 minutes. If an admin is setting an expiration period for that, say 7 days or 10 days, after 7 days of the assignment date of that item, I will not be able to launch that item again after a month when I am trying to launch it. I am free and I want to take up that course. I will think, okay, it has been a month that I have launched and back. I will let me complete that course. If I think it that way, I will not be able to launch because admin has set this date as 7 days. That is what is meant by this particular period. Now, allow users to review content from completed work. Now say, this particular online course is assigned to me. I have launched it, I have completed it, it is in my learning history. But still, I want to go back and see the content inside that particular course. I want to review the content. That particular review the content button will be available only if I select this set box, say, allow users to review content from completed work. But what happens there is, if at all I am selecting this checkbox, my course is over, I went to my learning history and I open the course again, it is showing as completed, but I can open the content again. I can open the content, I will be able to read the document again, I can take the exam also again. But what happens is, the score which was captured earlier only is available under learning history, but not the new score or whatever I do later. We are just allowing users to view the course as well. That is what is meant by this particular field. Now that I am telling this particular content object is online, it is available for launching. It is like once all content objects are recorded, only then you should treat this item as completed. We have done all these settings and you can OK. So you save your changes. Now I have created another folder for supervisor tutorial, but there is no content object. We'll go and create another content object. We'll give another URL from the browser section. Say, go back to content. Add new. You can purchases, select the launch method, go and select the item, this is the file name as ECC, colon backslash, now apply changes, go back to summary, and if you want to reconfirm your changes is there or not, what happens is when you select launch method, the radio button is always in the content field. So we can always go cross-check and apply changes. So I'm going to account and come back to the online item, search for your online item, and I'm given a tutorial. Okay. So now you can navigate to the online item. Go back to the online content, add content object, and search for the content object. From the supervisor area, and so you have your folder. Under this particular folder, you will get this content object. Under this folder, you have this content object. You save your changes. Go back to settings. Click on modify settings. Content is available for launch. Record learning events. And all content is complete. Your completion status. Yes. Now, if you see here, you have many folders. There is some heading for this particular folder, which is called LMS Features. When you navigate there, here also you have a block request called post sequential completion of content. Then what happens is, it will see that it should be under the same sequence time. So let us select the sequence, click on OK, and save your changes. What we'll do, we will go and map our exam to the same content object. Now, restrict access to other online item content objects. Record learning events when exam is passed. Exam duration. You will see all these lectures and save your changes. Here you have your two content objects and also your exam. This is your exam, this is your content object, this is your folder. With the respective icon, you will be able to easily identify what we are. If you want to remove them, you can always remove it. Go back to your settings, check whether everything is there. Record and all content is complete. And this we have changes. Now that you have saved your changes, if you see here earlier, this radio button was not available for launching. once you selected under settings that this particular content is available for launching, it is shown here as available for launch. Otherwise, this is seen as the red preview button is not available for launch. So now our online item is available ready with our online content, practice and exam. This is map that has settings with also saved. This is available for launch. Now we will go ahead and assign this particular item to a user. Okay. You can add your user. Now your item is being assigned to the user. there is the item which we had assigned at LMS earlier. We have as an assigned code here. The classification is shown. Now we can start code. If you see here, your able to see as in the folder we assigned. You have your folder that you have created. This is your active, and you have your folder again active and your exam. This is the reason why we have created a separate folder with the content object. And you can see that I am able to select this particular link but not this link. It is because we have chosen that four sequential option. That is the reason why it is not navigating me to the exam or second object unless and until I complete the first content object. So I am selecting the link, the content object, which we have selected as browser and gave the URL as object. So for this particular content object, we have told that once such is launched, it can be recorded. SuccessFactors.com screen is available. So this is how you will be able to give any URL and selecting in the browser or any launch method. Now that I have launched, I can close this, go back to your content and go to your second link. This is your second object. So I am navigating to my second link, admission.com. Yes, Susan, you are listening to the question. Now go back to your content structure. This is the expand.
I'm a strong friend to upload this to boundary. You have a browser and this is the
Madhuri, I cannot understand the usage of actually AICT or font. I mean, the users because it's not like every time we upload single video, single files or some kind of stuff. But no, it's like you can upload it, you can even import it together at the time. It can be done either manually for single item or it can be uploaded in a huge content. That is what that import export of AI.com is available under tools. The way we have seen systems yesterday, we will be able to upload many of them. Similarly, once we are done with this, I'll navigate to that.
Yes. So once the two content objects are launched, we will be able to complete the item and it will be available under our learning system. If you see here, there is something called review content. You will be able to review the content even after you have completed the course, and you can open the course and look at the content inside that and even take the exam. So this is how you have to always right click from the navigation. If you just take the cursor over there, then you will be able to get this. So just check that only if you have activated there for the right. This goes under view all of your knowledge section. So let me come back and I'll log into AICC. Start.
Just one second. Yeah, Madhavi.
Yeah. So you want me to go into the main visit?
It's okay. If you can upload any Chrome file, that would be fine.
But I don't have any files. I just have the content server with me.
So, can't we upload any Chrome file from any
Chrome have it actually.
Any Chrome file from Google?
Yes, the thing is I do not have a tool. Otherwise, we should be doing it. Like the way we had seen, what we will do, we will look into an admin folder, we will look at the exercises.
Can we have any user manual for this, Madam?
Yes, certainly. Under admin folder. So if you look into your content object, so create content object, you can, they have shown how to import the content and as well as import AICC content.
Okay.
As Priyanka was asking, why we should do for each and everything, you can even import it with the server that we are having. Now what they have shown here, the same exercise that we just did, first they are creating a content object, they are navigating to content object, add new, given the description, the details, the location details, added, and gone back to content layer. Actually, the new practice is content layer, this particular launch method is not being used. They have only shown here as they have selected a launch method and they have said here, select the launch method option from the radio button, enter the URL address here under the file. This is how you create a content object they have given. What we have done, but we have chosen a launch method as browser and we gave the URL. If at all we are giving a launch method as AICC, we should be able to give the file name. Otherwise, what we will do is, I have an exercise which has a URL with it. Let's see how it works. Basically, when we select AICC as the launch method, we should give the file name and we should also give the link. That is the tool, the development tool at the beginning stage when we create the content object. We should be giving the tool also. From which software are we going to pick the content from. So once we give that details only, the system will be able to identify the code or the content or PDF or any set of Word document that is. It will be able to identify from the server and the user will be able to launch it. That is what we are actually trying to do with the help of all these launch methods. I'll check with any of my team members if they are having the content with them. So I'll put it in my desktop and try to do this and then show you with the help of AI. There is an exercise actually which they have given the URL, but we are not going to download anything from AI. They have directly given the URL and there.
Madhavi, can you try with some Excel sheet right now?
Excel sheet, huh?
Yes.
But then we should be keeping file name there, right? URL. What we will do is, now I have this folder, I have this thing, right? I have all these PDFs, no?
Yes.
If I want to upload this PDF, I can select the launch method as document type here. Okay.
Yes.
But then what am I going to give here as file name?
Can you give the address?
Yeah.
Can we give the address and the local address?
I don't know how that's going to work. I was just going to fix it now. No, I don't think so. I think that will work. Should also take the document development. No, this is for offline. If we want to, if we want the user to launch that particular course offline also, that time we will give that offline file.
రెండో ఫుల్ ఐటమ్ లోనే యాడ్ చేయొచ్చు కదా మనము. ఐటమ్
Madhavi, can you select content package?
Content package I have selected. No, I didn't select content package. I have selected the launch method as document and then give the link, the URL there.
Okay.
So concept completion launch, working on this time. If you can see here, it is shown as not available for launch because we have not done the setting. Content is available for launch. Record events and all content is complete. And completed online. Available for launch. So you have saved your changes, your online content with your action. So you have your online content that is available for launch. Try and go and assign this to the user.
Oh.
We have a course here. This one is our course. And then it's new. Let's see how it's going now.
మనం ఇచ్చిన డాక్యుమెంట్ టైప్ కదా, మరి ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ చేస్తామని చూస్తున్నాం.
Hana, Krishna.
and pick up content from investment solutions they have. And we'll do it on create.
Madhavi Prasad here.
Yes,
Whatever the link that you have shared for us, the tab My Classes is not available.
okay.
The tab beside LMS admin. My Classes. My Classes.
This one.
No, the last tab. Can you add this tab for reference? For the instance you have shared.
Open. Basically, the same user should be an entity also. Only then My Classes will come. This My Classes thing is only for instructors.
Okay. Can you assign this for us instance?
Let's see if it is there or not. Otherwise, the tab is still not be available now because instructor is already there. So this is what is the item. This is the schedule. Students, if I select, how many students are marked, are assigned to this particular schedule, they will be able to and also course. So what is the option ID, schedule option ID, the course details, is there any course size, is there any registration cutoff date, and coming to time frame, under this specifically is this thing happening, and is there any description. So, and being an instructor, will be able to know about the option, he will be able to know how many people are assigned or registered for this particular course, and what is the schedule option. How many segments are there for one item. This what is available under classes. So basically, I went to classes, I selected classes, so you will get list of items, and we navigate to the item, so you will be looking into that particular item details. Images are marked, that is a scheduled option, there is the location and item. Maybe you have to wait for some time because this time that doesn't show right, and the link and user credentials are all same which I have changed.
Okay, madam.
So wait for some time and then this is the thing. Now that we have created an online item and mapped the content object that responds to that online item, now we will just create a blended item, blended classification item, go back to learning screen and match the screen content object. So if you see the item and you click on add new, blended means it is a combination of scheduled and online, and ILP as well as online. So we will choose the third classification as scheduled and online. There are maybe minor changes for this particular classification. It is same as online item, but so you can select here as blended on the report side. And you can give your idea as LMS sorry.
Your screen is coming very close.
Very forward. Okay, I'll wait now, You just tell me there what you're able to see in the screen, I'll just send and go ahead.
Is it only the screen or the...
Okay, somebody did it wrong.
Yesterday it happened to me, right? Like that.
Okay. So, once what I did, I selected the classification as blended. I gave my item description. Then once I gave as 2 days, so that the segments will come as 2 days, we'll see what those minor changes are under those segments. Now, my item is 7 is blended. I have given my summary. Coming back to content, I have existing content. We'll change our existing content here. We'll say so our existing content here, you see, we have our LMS demo and LMS provider. This is 4%. Master item complete and managed and approved. Completion status. Additional information is subscription on completion status. Then create another content object for the same thing. Search the content object. So both of the content objects are assigned to your blended item. Now, in this tutorial, you have 2 different objects. Go back to your settings, modify settings, status content is available for launching, and this is also recording only when all the completion only when all content is complete. Completion status. We'll create a completion status. Save your settings. So you are under a blended classification item. Coming to here, if you see segments, because you have given us 2 days there, you have 2 different segments here. Correct? So under these 2 different segments, when you go and create your online content for these 2 days, you can check in the system whether the content that you have chosen are available for launching for these 2 days. That is what is the difference between the normal ILT and blended, because it also involves content in it, where online launching the courses coming in picture. So what happens is, we can restrict the employees with 3 different restriction options. One is least restriction, somewhat restriction, and most restriction. These are the 3 restrictive options that is available for a blended item. So if you say least restriction, this is you all. If you see here, under process control, there is something called user can access online content without registration. That is, I have not even registered for the course, but this course I am able to see in the catalog. I can directly go to the course without even selecting register. I can launch that course. So that is what I am setting here as no. That is, if I am selecting as yes, what happens? The restriction, it will keep that employees should be registered only when they will be able to launch this particular item. That is LMS blended item. So that was for a least restrictive. If you say somewhat restrictive, there are 2 segments in a day, and there are 2 different segments for this particular course. I can say in the system that this particular course, day 1 is available for launching, but day 2 is not available for launching. So I am somewhat restricting the user for launching the online item. I am allowing him only with some kind of restriction. That is what is meant by somewhat restriction. Now, most restrictive means I am telling in the particular section that unless and until employee is not registered for this course, he cannot launch any sort of item. That is what is called most restrictive. These are the 3 sections that is available for blended classification items. So, under segments, we will be able to give how many segments here. Say day 1, I have LMS overview. Day 2, I have LMS exam. So here, only day 1 I can set it as launch, but day 2 I don't have to allow that employee to launch the item. I can do that changes. I will save this, go back to online content, and select your content object and assign this content object. Now, as it is showing a completion status can be created under references, learning, and completion status. So we have admin, completion status ID, now, when I am creating a completion status, it is always mandatory that for which item type are we going to create the completion status. Now we have something called blended here. So I am going to create a completion status for blended item type. We are giving the credit for the item that employee is going to complete it, and here we are going to tell that this particular completion status include learning events with this completion status for item evaluation. That is, user satisfaction survey, that is the item feedback survey, and the follow-up evaluation survey. So So if you want to include the learning events with the completion status for both of your evaluation service, you can select the checkboxes. Currently we only give credit. We are only creating a completion status for the apply changes. Go back and check whether the completion status is available when you are creating this action. Hello?
And you're not speaking it?
No. I was producing the completion status, it didn't allow me right first. Oh my god. Okay. So I had just created a completion status for that particular blended item. We had 2 days segment. Now I'm going to mark that content object. So once I save, color there was left there.
We are there, Madhavi.
Today's class is like a complicated class.
Online is actually complicated, but what I have shown us that is simpler only compared to AI.
It's like thriller.
See, but then you had understood, right, what we have just done.
Madhavi, can you just summarize like what are the things you have done?
Okay.
It's the same process.
We have a content object. For content object, there are various launch methods, and then standard methods for a content object for SuccessFactors system for integrating with the content server and LMS system is KIC and SAM method. So these two are the compliance for SuccessFactors. So if we have a separate content provider, we will be able to upload all the content servers with the help of these two standard compliance methods. Now it can be we have 5 varieties of launch methods. This is available in the system, content launch methods. Those launch methods are content layer, document type, browser, and AICC, and COM 1.4 and 2004 and 4th edition. So whatever edition of the COM we have, under the same edition we are going to upload the content also. So we should have a separate development tool. We should use a tool under where the server or the content is maintained, and when we are creating the content object, we will select our launch method and give the URL if it is a browser, wherever the server or the content server is saved, that URL will be given under the file name. There is a field called file name. Under the file name, we will be giving the details for the content method activity. So once we are done with our content object, we will be assigning the content object to the online item, so employees will be able to launch the content when the scope is assigned to them. That is what we have done. So it is the same method for both online classification as well as blended. When it comes to blended, it will have segments also as well as online content with them, because it is a combination of ILT and online content. Because ILT has a segment and scheduled options, so we are also going to have segments and online content with them. So we created an item classification called blended, and we went to segments and we have our 2-day segments first. When coming back to our online content, we will be saving the online content which we have created, and give the permission. When it comes to blended, we have the option of giving permission for launching online content. Whether day one they are able to launch it, or all the days the segments are available where online content is there, we are allowing the users to launch those items for all the days. So these restrictions we can have. So when it comes to Blender, there are three methods of restriction. That is least restrictive, somewhat restrictive, and most restrictive. So that one was for blended items. So now currently we are just assigning the content as this for the blended item. Once we save it, we will go back to our settings and say that it is available for launching. Give us completion status. Okay. So now this item is available for launch. Go back to your segment. You save this. Once you save your content, go back to your segment and see how the screen is looking like. Go to your segment. The screen is what I exactly wanted to show you was when we select blended item, we give our settings, we give our content object, different content object which we have seen. We are not sure. if you see here, I have created 2 content objects and I have paused 2 days. That is, I have 2 segments. Earlier, when I gave one content object, that is only 1 day, which employee will be launching the content object and he will be completing the code. Now that I have assigned 2 content objects, I have a separate checkbox called content available only during specified segments of a scheduled object. What happens is, there are 2 days and there are 2 segments. So I can choose day 1 employee will be available to launch it, and day 2 he will not be able to launch it. So if I select this checkbox and save it, when I go back to my segment, I will have another checkbox here called available for online. Can you check my comment? There will be a separate checkbox here. Online. Go back to the segment and check. If you click there is something called online access. I will give online access for day 1 and save it, and I can also give online access for day 2 and save it. That means both the content which is assigned to this item, when this item is assigned to user will be able to launch both of them because I have given access, online access for both the segments. If I remove this, employee will not be able to launch the day 2 exam. That is what it is meant by this particular blender. These item classification called blender will have all these options. So under online content, there will be a separate checkbox which will be available here, content available only during specified segments. If I select the checkbox, under segments I will have another checkbox called online access. We will be able to give access for the segment wise. If I remove this checkbox and save it, then under segments I will not have that online access checkbox button. That means the employee will be able to launch both the content on both the days. So the checkbox is not available now because we have removed from the system. This is what we do for blended classification items. So it is a combination of both ILT, that is scheduled acting and segment, and online content. So it is a classroom training. There is an instructor, there is an online content, whether it is a web-based or a computer-based or a SAP, whatever it is, employee will be able to launch as well as instructor will be available for both the things. We can give our own descriptions for the segments that we are going to have in D1 and D2 section. And then once employee completes that course, this will automatically go into the learning system. This is what is for blended classification. Thank you, everybody. Hello?
Yes, madam.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Yeah, madam.
Hello?
Yeah, madam.
Yeah. So this is what is for online content. What I will do, I will take some other document or the URL or AICC, some server, some details, so that I can show you AICC part also. how to create a content object for an AICC branch method. That will be for our online content.
Okay, madam.
Yeah. Priyanka, Friday you said you can extend, that is why it went on till the end. Because I wanted to complete this online part for both online classification as well as for blended. So, what then? Should we continue for today or should we stop? What have you guys decided for tomorrow and the after?
We will start it tomorrow morning.
Okay. So you guys have decided for tomorrow and the after?
I mostly people I don't think they are available, so I think we will be again doing it on Monday morning. Because most of them have said no for it.
So you check with others also. Okay. So we will have class on Monday then?
Yeah.
So then we look into system admin configuration. Thank you everybody.
Yeah, thank you, madam.
Thanks, ma'am. Please look into that admin folder and create some content or items, whatever we have covered or from the admin manual, which is available on the site.
Sure, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, you guys.
Thank you.